What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hammerstang and today is my final review here of the Honor X9d, the Tough King Champion, and we're going to see what it brings in 2025. And I always like to break it down into 4 main segments over here just to give you guys a more comprehensive overview of how this phone has been for me over the past week or so. And yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so before we go any further, let's just talk about the price over here. And if we follow with last year's X9C, which also did follow the price of the X9B, it would be at about the 1500 ringgit mark, which does place it at about the $350. So yes, it means that it's really firmly in the place of the mid-range price over here. I would say maybe at the entry-level mid-range price. So it's really good for the value over here, and we're going to look at it from a mid-range point of view. The first point I want to make over here, which is the most important thing, is of course the holding experience. We're going to mainly talk about the build and design of this phone, which of course is one of the major key features when it comes to the X9 series. And the first thing that we always do know about this is how tough the phone can get every year in terms of the back designs, in terms of the sides here, in terms of the display, how long it can resist when it comes to withstanding pressures from water droplets, when it comes to dropping down your phone, withstanding high pressures and all this other stuff. And I really do like it over here that when I went for the testing of the X9D, they really gave it a really good test over here. Especially I was really amazed when it came to the display here. Yes, they have changed the design from last year previous models. When it came to the curved display, they've given us a flat display over here, and I think this one here really helps, not just aesthetically, which I think for me, to be honest, I prefer a flat display. I prefer a flat on the sides here. It does give you a more premium look, I would say. I really like it, but not only it looks nicer, it definitely feels more secure in your hand. You don't really feel like you're going to drop your phone, and in case if you do kind of drop your phone, I think the sides here would really help a lot when it comes to preventing any cracks or any damages to the display or to the frame. And what I like about this is that you can see that on the sides here you have a thicker frame compared to if you're having a curved display as with the previous models, and definitely that one helps. One of the tests that I really did like is of course the deep dampened glass on top of your Victus 2 on the X9D, and how we tested it out was when we took a really good heavy duty stapler gun and we repeatedly kind of just shoot it on the X9D, and no problems whatsoever, not even a single scratch on the display over here. So if you don't have to worry about it placing it into your pockets, I know you buy some flagship phones, you put it in your pocket, sometimes the sand or maybe your keys might scratch the display, but over here, so far I've been using it without a case and whatsoever because I want to see how much damage can it take, and it really can take quite a bit. I think I haven't seen any major scratches here, major dents, and I think it really holds up very nicely. Of course, inside we know we have the 6-layer protection here, and I think it really feels like a very solid phone. It is not very lightweight, I would say, so it definitely gives that extra premium feel as well. So definitely that would help for most people. I know some people might drop it, have a tendency of dropping it even more with the extra weight, but I think overall it kind of just counterbalances it with the design of this. I really like it much better compared to last year's X9C. And of course, when it comes to just how you're going to use this phone, like when it comes to the X series, like I mentioned, I don't really use a cover on this, like a silicone case on it. And I really like it is that even though you don't have a phone stand, but because of the flat sides on the left side of the phone, you can actually prop it up and watch your content on the go on this like this. Really nice, and I really do enjoy it. So overall, I would say that the design here is a major upgrade, and for that, the holding experience on this, I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. Okay, and of course, moving forward, let's talk about the viewing experience. I'm going to talk about the display and also the speakers. And last year with the X9C, they provided us with your stereo speaker setup. They've given us a great display, and what I can say is that it follows through here with the X9D. One thing I really did notice major here is of course when it came to the speakers. Like when I was hearing stuff from here and I was hearing stuff from my flagship phones, I couldn't really tell the difference between what I was hearing between these two phones. Normally when you buy a mid-range phone, and you can tell even a little bit of difference when it comes to the volume, in terms of the clarity, in terms of the bass and the music, you can tell a difference between that. But I would say, this is honestly me just speaking, when I was using like phones like my Galaxy S24 Ultra, the Magic 7 Pro, Magic 6 Pro, Honor 400 Pro and all that, I've been using other brands as well. And when I switched it on to here, when I was watching YouTube, watching Netflix and all that, I couldn't really tell the difference. That I couldn't feel that kind of downgrade, like I was listening to a phone that was cheaper. And that really is a good testament to what they have done here in terms of the speakers and also the display with the X9d, because it's not just a tough phone which they originally started from, but it's also a tough phone which does give you great, good phone features. And that is one thing I really do like here. When it came to the haptics, I wouldn't say it's the best, but again, I think for most people, they would enjoy it. And I think, again, who is it catered for? I think for a lot of people who buy this, like people who are older folks who tend to drop it, or maybe students who don't want to spend too much but they want a good phone that can last for a long time, I think this phone here does pack you a lot of good features when it comes to the viewing experience. So for that, I would say I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. And now going on to the third segment over here, and that is of course the user experience, and I'm going to basically talk about the hardware and software side of things. I find that last year with the X9 phones, they were actually really good in terms of just how it runs smoothly and all the added features. And again, it follows through here. They didn't really given us much of an upgrade. Of course, in terms of the battery and of course in terms of the processor, there is an upgrade, but it's also smooth enough already from previous models that you don't really kind of notice it here, especially with the X9d. What I mean by that is that if you're just using your social media, checking your emails, opening up 3-4 apps and just switching in between them, you won't really notice much of a lag, much of stutter, much of crashes here and there. And that's something I really like here. Yes, we do have the Snapdragon 6 Gen 4 processor here, something really awesome with this. And of course the battery on this is really amazing as well, because people who use this phone, I see, tend to not have a charger brick around them that often, or they don't really use wireless charging, all that fun stuff. But over here we have that large battery and the extra ultra power saving mode. You're able to like just kind of stretch the battery over here, and to be honest, I just use this sometimes as a secondary phone, and I don't really need to worry so much about charging this, and I can just leave it around, play my games, watch my content and put it aside, and it doesn't really drain that much. And that's of course one of the major things they've upgraded here with the X9d. And of course when it comes to the AI stuff, yes, we have all the full cool AI translate, AI transcribe and all this other stuff, and I really do like it that with the mid-range phones as well, Honor is still giving you your, I would say, simple AI stuff compared to like the flagship phones, but they still do give you with the X9d. So overall, I would say the user experience on this, I'll give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Okay, and of course, going on to the last segment of here, and that is of course the cameras. And again, this is where they had to still make some corners to be cut when it comes to their X9 series. And you can see it here when it comes to the selfie department. You only have a simple 16 megapixel shooter, which can only record up to 1080p. So that is of course one of the major cutbacks over here. You can't record at 4K, which I think is still pretty decent for most people in terms of if you're going to do video calling or if you want to take a nice selfie. When it comes to the rear cameras, I really do like it that they've just gone away with the third useless camera. We have an amazing 108 megapixel OIS sensor here, and also a decent, I would say, ultra wide lens. Yes, it does appear softer in some images, I would say, when you're taking with the ultra wide, but when you're taking just normal shots with the main lens, I think the photos do come out really nice. The dynamic range is pretty decent, and of course the images come out really sharp and soft. Sometimes a little bit soft, I would say, under trickier lighting conditions. But when it comes to portrait, I would say it does get the job done. But of course, you don't buy especially the X9 series, especially for the cameras, but it's still, you will still be amazed by what it packs when you check out the photos in the gallery over here. And again, when it comes to the Honor OS over here, you do have your AI features here as well, so you don't have to worry about, you know, just editing all your stuff. You do have some simplified AI features like your AI upscaling, AI removal when it comes to the reflection and also the objects, so you don't have to worry about it. You still have it here with the X9d. So overall, I will give this a solid 8 out of 10. Alright guys, so that is it with my final review here of the X9d. And of course, the ultimate question is, What do I think about it? And should you go and get it? To be honest, for the price point for about 1,500, I think this is a really solid deal. I think if it's about maybe 1,008, it still is a pretty solid deal because again, they've provided you a good amount of upgrades compared to last year's. And of course, the software support can support up to 3 to 4 years here. So not only you have a durable phone, but you also do have a durable software here to last you through the years as well. In terms of the design, you don't have to worry about finding a phone case or whatsoever. You can just use it as it is and you can enjoy the design on this. You don't have to worry about it breaking. And of course, they do give you, in most countries, a kind of 1 year one-to-one exchange or a one-to-one screen protection care plan here. So do check it out with your local suppliers. And when it comes to display speakers, they do give you pretty good, decent sets over here. And when it comes to cameras, again, that's where they have to make some corners to be cut. But overall, I think it still packs in a lot of cool stuff. What I notice about the X9 series is that I do notice that a lot of like the so-called parents want to use it, students want to use it, kids want to use it. And I think this is a really solid price for all these people here. You don't have to spend a buckload of money over here to get a good phone and you worry about it breaking. You can just get the X9d over here. And I would say this is a really highly recommended phone. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And of course, if you guys have any questions, do leave it in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next one.